We need to do blips from last week.
Oh yeah,
We sure do.
Let me get my blip sheet open here. I did award experience points last week.
You did send out.
yes, we got the XPs.
But if you want to give us more, I mean,
Yeah, if you want a double XP,
You don't deserve more yet.
You made us fight 2 CR13 monsters.
Yeah.
and you almost killed us.
And you got
I almost killed you.
20,000 experience points for it.
No, I got 2,800 experience points.
And now,
Yeah, times 7 equals.
now you're going to have to deal with 2 werewolves.
I don't know. That's math. Let's do blips instead.
Who wants to make their case for last week's blips first?
I'll go.
All right.
Since I spoke up, I said something. I have my alignment. Count it good. When in doubt, go with your guts. For healing the Vistani as repayment for the interaction with the previous Vistani.
Okay.
My ideal practical solutions to impractical problems for taking the wood steel planks and making the arrowheads and various weapons to halt the regeneration of the werewolves. And my flaw, don't worry about it. It was just a setback for insisting that I could replace that dagger and then forgetting that I don't have that infusion at the moment. We'll fix it later, don't worry. And then the video from 2 weeks ago.
All right. Who's next?
I guess
I'll go.
I heard Victor first.
Okay.
So for alignment, ends justify the means. That was proposing to build an army and exterminate the werewolves since they don't seem to be reasonable.
Yeah, just crap out an army. Go ahead.
For ideals, that would be trying to find info on the Vistani, seek the truth no matter the cost.
Okay.
And then for the flaws, refusing to give his name even at the cost of offense and then trying to humble himself to make up for it. And also accepting that secret knowledge in spite of the warnings.
All right. And what does Edmont have for me?
I have my alignment. Take everything you can, give nothing back. For advocating for the Vistani, for protecting her, because listen, it's more for us because we need to make allies here.
Now, grammar
Taking
lesson.
all numbers right now.
The Vistani are a group of people. A singular member of that group is a Vistana.
Okay.
Okay. You have been grammar. Do you have any more blips you want to give me?
I don't know. I have my ideal. Life is my canvas, so I'll make my mark on it for sciencing the awful thing that might possibly be sullying his art. For looking into that. No idea what it means yet, but would make more progress on that. Need to figure out why something is sullying his art.
Okay.
And my flaw, which is fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. For at the beginning of the combat, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a shot. Oh, they're fast. Hi, legendary actions. I missed you.
There was a thread on one of the Reddits where a player encountered legendary actions for the first time and was like really mad about it. Was trying to call BS. And RPG Horror Stories was like, no, that's just a rule. That's just something that monsters can do. Like, put on your big boy pants. Who's next?
I can go.
Evie.
Okay. So, aspect, you mess with my family, you mess with me for trying to protect Trieste, even though she didn't do a very good job.
She only got a little bit eaten.
She got like 95% eaten. Ideal, I must become a leader that others can believe in for defending her duchy. And her flaw, no one understands for having to give up her magic dagger to avoid causing offense to the Vistana woman.
So, to my credit, I did write Vistana in my notes for this for these blips. I just don't know how to read.
And that leaves Ekon. Is Destil muted?
Destil?
I've got Lawful Good, the Shining Words of Air, lay down a path for us all for leading the villagers in the worship of air. And I've got my initiative blip.
Okay. All right, who had the most
Did you have
creative
a straw poll for last
solution?
week?
I didn't run one because we went on too long.
Oh, fair enough.
Who had the most creative solution to a problem?
It was Genie for levitating the big boy.
And who furthered the party's goals the most?
That was Evie for keeping the villagers from rebelling.
And the badass?
That was Victor for needing ammunition and not a ride.
And intangibles?
That was Ekon for finding religion.
Or giving religion.
I think it's founding is what that
Founding
says.
religion. Well, it does say finding.
Clearly
So I don't know.
Okay. So Edmont earned 3. And you're coming in this week with 0. Do you want to just start the session with 3?
Yep.
Ekon had 2 and earned 3. You're starting the session with 5.
Yep.
Evie had 2 and earned 4. Are you starting the session with 6?
Correct.
Genie had 0 and earned 5. You're starting the session with 5.
Yes.
And Victor had 2 and earned 4. Are you going to start the session with 6?
Yeah.
All right. Now let me clear all of that information out of my spreadsheet.
You know how sad I would have been last session if that I took a gamble on that Loop Guru having only 2 legendary resistances because I'm like, surely this won't have 3, right? Because I'm thinking like only dragons, and then I got to looking after the section like how many monsters, right?
Probably most of them, I would actually think.
Yeah, I think most of the monsters I think have like it's just like standard issue. If they have legendary resistance, they have 3 shots of it.
It's about 50-50,
Okay.
3 and 2. Generally, it's higher level stuff, like with a few smattering low levels that have 3, like dragons and stuff have 3, and then like vampires for some reason.
But then they also have bullshit. Some big stuff also have bullshit like layer actions that can all that just have more fun knock-on effects.
I just want you to know I would have been incredibly sad if I had wasted those blips. So sad.
Genie, make me a charisma check.
A charisma check?
DC is 20.
Oh, well, I don't think I'm going to pass this. In fact, I don't think I can pass this.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, there's absolutely no way I can pass this, because even if I roll a 20, it'd be an 18. So that's a 2.
Charisma's that bad, huh?
Yeah, it's -2.
Okay.
Yep, -2.
All right, I need to do some rolls on the side here.
And I don't think I've done anything particularly evil. So, it's probably not a Dark Powers
What
check.
does that have to do with anything? Everybody can go ahead and take the benefits of the long rest. Victor, after you've taken the benefits of the long rests, you do not regain any hit dice.
Ah!
So spend the ones you have to gain the healing you need over the course of the rest, but you do not regain hit dice at the end of the long rest. Everybody else, I think, is okay, because it was Victor and Trieste that had gotten partially eaten by the Guru.
I didn't get eaten.
You got slashed.
I got
You got
slapped.
clawed.
You got clawed. You did not get bit. Victor and
Did
Trieste
Trieste get
got-
bit, or I thought she just got clawed
Nope,
too.
she also got bit.
Okay.
So the immediate aftermath of the fight, you have repelled the werewolves from the village. Over the course of the next day or so, well, first of all, it is noticeable, very, very noticeable. Trieste and Victor's wounds were both very, very bad. So it's going to take them a while to bind up their wounds, and they're going to be resting for some time. But they don't seem to be healing properly. The wounds after a day look as fresh as they did when the Guru first sunk their teeth into them. With that information, what's going on in the village over the course of the next day?
Declare the wolves are no longer howling around us at night.
That night, you hear no howling.
I
we
think
gave
that
him a
night-
bloody enough nose.
That night, Evie actually plays her violin for the village.
But okay. The next morning we're going to I guess like what is does Ekon plan on looking at Victor and Trieste's
Yeah.
wounds? Yeah, okay. I'll assist with that. To be on hand for magical healing. I'm not trained in medicine, but I do have cure wounds.
Yeah, I would like to spend some time studying their wounds with both medicine and arcana.
Okay. Make me a medicine check.
You got it. I am going to cast Enhance Ability
And
Wisdom on myself before doing this.
but before you roll, can my retainer help him? Because he also has medicine.
Yeah, that's fine. You can make that an advantage.
Oh, well, then I don't need to cast a spell. Okay. And obviously Guidance.
Well,
So that would
allows
be
you
a medicine of 24.
Victor has definitely contracted some kind of disease from the bite.
Mhm.
The nature and manner of the disease, you're not sure. But the flesh is not binding together naturally the way that it should be.
Let's try tagging him with a Lesser Restoration.
I should probably turn on my light in this room. I opened a book, and for a moment I was just staring at the page of the book like, why I can't read this book?
Dark Vision doesn't allow you to view printed text. It only works on, like, carved runes.
Is Braille a carved rune?
So you cast Lesser Restoration.
Yeah.
How many times per day can you cast that?
3. 5 if I want to upcast it.
So, casting the spell will suppress the effects of the disease for the next day or so, but he won't be cured. By which I mean at the end of his next long rests, he'll be able to regain half of his hit dice like normal. And same thing for Trieste if you spend the spell on her.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and hit Trieste too with one of those then. Do I have any idea if this will heal naturally if they start making their saves, or?
I mean, you have no idea. You've never seen a disease like this
Okay.
before.
Is it a magical disease?
No.
Okay.
You don't.
So the next thing I would like to do then is cast a Sending to Pladen and ask how he's doing, and also if he has any advice on how to treat this disease.
I have a roll that I need to make.
Glad even still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
I think Plaid will outlive all of us.
He's not meeting anything out there that he can't handle.
I
All
just
the
want,
problems are for us.
He's got Lahire with him.
can we just like stop playing this and just follow? You just tell us what Pladen's doing like all the time. That's the story I want to hear.
No,
Pladen was killed on his way back to his home plane.
So you had coordinated with Platt and given him some basic directions on how to find the valley in which you find yourself now from Castle Avernus, the seat of Darkhan. And I can say this information can come to you over the course of a few days. I know that it's not all going to take place in one setting. Pladen is pinned down in a city called Dementliu. He doesn't know much about the city except that it sits on the coast, but even so, does not seem to do much in the way of maritime trade. He's currently trying to find somebody in the city that has information on how to reach Darkon, but at this point he and Lair both have left Darkon, and they're not sure how that has happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they managed that.
Will it take us 2 weeks to get there?
To get to Dementliu?
Yeah, if we talk to that guy with his I forget his name, the guy with the carriage.
Pladen recommends that you don't come to this place, if pressed on it.
He's pinned down. It sounds bad. You know who we might check with? Our resident coffin maker. He might know where that city is.
You're going to ask Demetrius?
Yeah, Demetrius. That's it. If he's aware of the name of that city.
He has vague recollection of hearing the name before, in the sense that once in a while, a band of Vistani would take goods from Darkon and trade goods from Dementliu. And he can't quite recall the specifics because he and his people in his village did very little trade with the Vistani if they could help it.
Oh, I got the impression that Demetrius and his family were not from Darkon.
No, they're from Falcomia.
Okay. I thought that was outside of Darkon. My bad.
It is. Why? What did I say? I want to make sure that I didn't inadvertently cause confusion somehow.
I think we're all on the same page now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page. It's like they're out from outside of Darkon, correct?
Yes, they're from a region called Falcomia.
Okay. Right. Gotcha.
Did he have any information about werewolf disease? Werewolf transmitted diseases? WTDs?
Like a BTD, a bite transmissible disease.
Is WTD, can I do that as werewolf transmitted disease and use one word in sending?
You know what? It has to be a
If
word.
word sending is in German, how many words is that?
If it's not in the Scrabble dictionary, it doesn't count.
Scrabble dictionary.
He's very guarded on answering any questions about lycanthropy as a disease.
Okay.
He gives some kind of vague but heartfelt assurances, or hopes, I should say, that Victor and Trieste will make a recovery, but give me an insight check.
You got it. That is a insight of 26.
26. What he's not saying gives you more information than what he is. He's essentially... there is not a known cure for this disease, and his demeanor as you're asking him questions about it, this is a fatal disease.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he's evading your questions, there's a lot of superstition surrounding it, as though speaking of it in more frank terms could cause it to spread. You also know that he didn't display any surprise when you asked him about this disease, which tells you that the other people, the ones that were holed up in the long hall during the fight, know which two of your party were bitten.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have gaping wounds that I've been tending for days at this point that don't heal.
Right.
Like, I think the cat's out of the bag on that one, Brick.
And at one point, the Abernathy had taken Trieste back into the hall, and he must not have thought there was any good reason to not to hide it, in other words.
Yeah.
And over the course of that day, Victor especially, as you're going about your day, people are giving you a very wide berth. They're stepping out of your way. If you walk towards a crowd of commoners, they will disperse before you arrive. And any conversations you do have are very curt, and they go into it with an immediate exit strategy.
Interesting. Victor will use that disadvantage. If he sees any arguments, he'll just approach.
So let's go ahead and get some actions for this day. This would be the first day after repelling the werewolf attack. So it'll be the first night in, what's it been, a week or so? Maybe more than that. That you have not been beset by howling in the woods. What's on the agenda for today?
Well, I'm
What
glad...
can I... Oh, go ahead.
No. Well, while I'm glad that the wolves are not, hounding us, I don't know that I think that means they are defeated. I think we still need to make sure that we are looking to our defense, repair the damage to the palisades that were done when the wolves...
Remarkably little damage, actually. I mean, one of them bashed through the gate, but that only takes a couple of hours to repair, especially if the men can now safely go into the woods without having to be babysat.
Yeah, I would like to take advantage of this lull to acquire resources, particularly the silver trees, if there are any in the area that can.
I think we should.
Difficulty.
So the men are going to have to go a little farther afield for the silver trees. This will be an expedition where you would send them out and they would return in 2 or 3 days.
I don't think we should gather the silver trees at this point. I think we should look, because we're still we stopped sending outriders out, right? We scouts, because we still haven't mapped the whole domain.
Correct.
Right. So I think we should send the scouts back out and have them mark any silver trees they find, and specifically keep an eye out for that. And then we decide what we want to do, because we need to know how many we have before we just start willy-nilly cutting them down.
Yeah. But also, now that we have the wall and we have a small supply of the wood steel arrows, I think Leotgard and a couple of archers can, they can make a good defense of this place if it gets attacked while we're not here. So we don't have to be as worried about the village getting attacked from behind while we're out somewhere.
Okay, so what are you doing on this one day?
Okay. Yeah. I think I need to talk to Lugrin, because I'm assuming that Lugrin has been doing absolutely no work whatsoever.
Okay. And what is Jeannie doing today?
Is this the same day? Because
This is the first day after the werewolves attacked.
Right, I was assisting Ekon with I was trying to be on hand for that. If that doesn't count,
So
then I will.
What is Ekon doing today?
Oh, it's a different day.
I'm spending my morning, obviously, tending to the wounded. The other thing I would like to do in the morning, if everyone is here before they start wandering off on their own, is I can cast Speak with Dead and Zone of Truth.
You don't have any dead. Everybody survived.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is a different action from... Okay, all right. Sorry. I'm going to collect the trap that we constructed with burning hands. I'm going to take it to the manor, and I'm going to install it in the floor of that mirror room, and then I'm going to cast Arcane Lock on the door by powdering 25 gold pieces of gold. And I'm going to... That's basically... Securing that room is going to be my...
Okay.
Because that's something that Evie had asked me to do. And I figured, we're safe, now we can do that.
And Ekon, what dead are you looking to speak with today?
I mean, I think we should talk... do you guys want to ask 5 questions from one of these werewolves that we killed, the big ones?
You think they're going to tell us anything?
I mean, I think I can cast Zone of Truth first, so they can't necessarily lie.
That doesn't mean they're going to tell. They could tell us to fuck off 5 times. These werewolves have not been very friendly or helpful.
Just
But the rules of Speak with Dead are actually pretty stringent on what they can answer and how they can answer it, and that coupled with Zone of Truth might force their tongues, if I remember right. As a
I mean,
player,
it's just spell slots. Like, I'm not burning any big resources if we want to do this.
I mean, hey, it's worth like.
If we
figuring
can
out.
come up with 5 questions we would like to ask these werewolves, I will cast Zone of Truth.
How many more
and
Luke
Speak with
Guru are
Dead.
there?
Exactly, stuff like just
Good
what
start.
like. Does that seem like something people would want to do?
Yeah, if we can force them to give us intel, yeah.
Yeah, Victor.
Okay, let's come up with 5 questions.
Okay. What is Victor doing today?
I guess after the question and answer session with the Zone of Truth thing?
Yeah, it'll only take 15 minutes.
So after that, Victor is going to start trying to trace down where these vines might be coming from, assuming he's healthy enough to do that.
That's going to include an expedition outside of town, out into the wilderness.
Yeah, so he's gonna, as much as he can do in a day, he's gonna start trying to figure out kind
So
of where
you're
they're
going to leave the village and start trailing the vines out into the wilderness for today? Are you going alone, or is anybody coming with you?
He will ask if anybody wants to come with him, and the plan is to come back at nightfall.
With your 3 hit points. Gotcha.
Evie is going to tell you that she doesn't want you leaving the village in your condition.
Well, the villagers don't want me to stay. I've healed up enough for the day, so I may as well be useful.
And what is Edmont doing today?
my answer will depend on the answer to my question here. How many days until the next full moon?
Probably 2 or 3.
Okay, good to know. No, provided if I'm not needed on hand specifically for the Speak with Dead plan, then I think what I will do is I will start. Edmont is going to. Is there a hill that I could get a good overlook of the village as it is now?
Probably not a high hill where you could see the whole village. There are certainly hills nearby out beyond the farmland, but
Yeah, once
typically you wouldn't build the village in the low spot in the surrounding territory.
Yeah. I'm gonna go find that spot though, and I want to get a good view of the thing, and I'm gonna start taking a sketch because I want to make something kind of a historical record of this place as it was when we arrived, and maybe turn that into an actual painting that we could decorate in the manor.
And what is Ekon going to do after Speak with Dead is cast?
After that, he will go around and he will start working on getting the church more into order, getting it not doing the actual repair work yet, but just getting inventory, figuring out what has to be done, clearing out stuff, and just kind of spend most of his day working on seeing what he will need, making plans to start repairing the chapel next, basically.
Okay. Do we have 5 questions for the dead Guru?
Yeah, we've got 4. I figure if somebody else wants to throw in one, we can get started.
Hold on. Let me see.
What questions do we have right now?
They're in the party chat.
I need to step away for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Is there a way to... Yeah, well, we kind of know where they came from already, but I was going to say, is there
We just know the one clan that we met, not where the other clans are.
Yeah, how many
clans? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, how many... how can we... No, that's more than 5. I was going to say, how can we contact the leaders of the clans? To just give them an ultimatum, get the fuck off, go away.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing we need to know, I guess, given that Edmont and Victor are potentially infected by something, what happens when we get bit is a good one. How can they be cured?
Jeannie has a experiment she wants to run on one of your on one of your sketches, but she wants your Edmont, but she wants your permission first because she knows you really like your paintings and sketches. So she has a suggestion and she'll leave it to you to do it, if that makes sense.
Okay, question number 1.
How many loot?
Question number 1. How many Lugaru are in this region of the world?
The exact number is unknown, but typically each of the Keltostravi clans would have between 0 and 2.
How many clans are in this area?
Is that the second question?
Yep.
Either 8 or 9.
What happens to humans that get bit by your kind?
They die.
That marks the next question off. Will the other wolves follow a different loot guru now that you are dead?
The others didn't follow the Loop Guru when he was alive.
How do we get in contact with the leaders of one of your clans?
You would have to track them to where they are going next.
Will your death bring our village peace for the time being?
Was that 5 questions?
That should be the 5th, yeah. I think, unless I miscounted.
I thought I had counted 5. Was
I thought
anybody
that
else
was
counting?
6.
Oh, okay.
think
Well,
that
then
was
we're done.
6.
Yeah, if that's 6, we're done.
Okay.
Sorry.
What do you do with the dead Guru?
Question: do they revert back to? Are they still wolves, or do they revert back to humans?
Oh no, they're still giant humanoid wolves.
Oh,
Burn them corpses.
do we?
Burn
do
them.
we keep? Do we keep the skulls?
Burn them.
I'm all for burning them.
I mean,
Burn them.
Yeah, Ekon will. If that's the consensus, Ekon will create a pyre and then use burning hands.
but
Mount the heads and burn the bodies.
Are you mounting the heads or burning the whole thing?
I think we just burn the whole thing. If
Yeah,
like,
I think we can also burn the one we already have up there too now. Like I think we've made our point.
right,
Yeah.
Evie,
Yes,
before we get into this list of actions here, I need you to make me an insight check.
I can do that.
And one last thing, Ekon is going to collect whatever random silverwood bark couldn't be used to make weapons, and he's going to use that in the base of the fire when he builds this pyre.
Okay.
the shavings and stuff, I'll get the shavings.
Yep.
I got an 11.
An 11?
Aren't you good at that?
As the village
Yes,
starts
but
to come
I'm
back
not good
to
at
life.
rolling.
As the village starts to come back to life the day after the battle,
Mhm.
you make note that Koyana, the Vistana woman,
Mhm.
is moving more freely amongst the villagers than you've seen her do up to this point.
So she's either starting to trust them more, or she is trusting that our protection will keep her safe from them.
Or she's hoping that now that we've killed a bunch of werewolves, like, people won't say she's bringing werewolves here.
Evie,
Mm-hmm.
you find Lugren in the long hall, where he was sleeping last night because everybody was put up here in a defensible position for when the werewolves arrived. And very late in the morning, after you guys have done this Speak with Dead ritual, and as the pyre burns the wolves down to ash, you realize that Lugren wasn't at the gathering that had been attracted. Going back to the long hall, you find that he's still asleep an hour or two before midday.
So, like the past couple weeks since we've been here, has he been contributing at all?
I mean, you haven't given him anything to do, really. You haven't made any orders or commands of him.
Well, yeah, but everyone else is contributing, so that's what this conversation has to be about. He doesn't get to just sleep while everyone else is working.
You couldn't swear that he hasn't done anything, because you yourself haven't been out in person overseeing a lot of the work that's been done. But if you had to make an educated guess, I mean, he isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sleeping in the long hall alone a few hours before midday. Abernathy and Trieste are still here, just because Trieste is badly wounded.
Mm-hmm.
So Abernathy stands up and greets you at the door. And he seems to be in fairly good spirits, all things considered. So that was
yes,
a great victory won last night.
I thank you for your service to our new home. I will not forget what you and your cousin have done for us. And your man-at-arms, Leocard, also did well to represent the strength of House Amberson.
And he nods and smiles.
If there's anything that Trieste needs, just ask it, and it will be provided if it is in our power.
And he looks over at her and then back at you and says, the wound seems severe, and I know that Aethar Ekon had come around earlier this morning to administer prayers of healing over her. So he seems optimistic about her prognosis.
I mean, Evie also got mauled by this thing, so she is, her injuries are recovering much better than Trieste and Victor's are, but, like, she's walking around, people can see that she bled for this place, that she wasn't, like, hiding. She actually went to the front lines, and she kind of wants everyone to know that.
I mean, it's less subtle than that, because everybody who was in the long haul knew who was outside fighting at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was, there were only, like, a dozen people or so outside holding the wall.
Yeah. Then I'll say, I need to have a word with my brother.
And he looks over at Lugrin, and then backs at you, and he gives you a polite nod, and he goes back and joins his cousin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So before I begin this, like, what has Lugrin's demeanor been in all this? Like, is he mad at me for stepping out of my lane and becoming the Duchess when he feels like it should have been him, or is he thankful that he doesn't have to do all this work?
You can't really remember a time where Lugrin has been angry at anybody for any length of time. His usual demeanor is very laid back.
Okay, so he's not like Denny, who has been like, you have usurped my rightful throne, and you will die for this.
No, and even back in Brennan, and even in South Warren before that, like, Lugrin is above you in the birth order, but nobody treated him like that. Like, Ruby always de facto knew that it was going to skip a rank, so to speak. So Lugrin has always just kind of slipped comfortably right into that spot in the family.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you kick him awake.
Hey, it's almost noon.
And he wipes the sleep from his eyes, looks up. Oh, that means I missed breakfast.
And I'll sit down and like, how you holding up? This place is hell, right?
He says, as well as could be expected, I suppose. He motions towards some of the workers on the other side of the window. Says, there's ale, there's food to be had. I have in the manor, I have a soft bedroll to sleep on.
And you will continue to have those things.
As soon as we have some, if we're able to find some games of dice and some pretty girls, I think I'll be all set. He smiles.
Pretty girls might be a bit hard to come by here for a while. Aside from present company, of course.
So what is it that you want Lugrin to know?
So I'm going to say, so look, everyone else in this house is contributing to building this new place, and I need you as a member of this house to also contribute.
And he reaches up and touches his head a few times with his hand, realizes he's not wearing his cap, looks around on the floor where he was laying. He finds it underneath his muddy boots. He picks it up, puts it on his head, then makes a show of doffing it and bowing to you. Well, I am ever House Veritas' loyal servant. What is required of me, sister?
Well, I have a job in mind for you that I think you're going to like. It's going to be a bit of a long-term project. I'm not expecting you to become a warrior like Orson or Edmont, or to become an Aethar like Ekon, or a mad scientist like Genie, or whatever the hell Victor is now.
Engineer.
What I have heard from our outriders is that one of the nearby villages in our territory has a vineyard. Now, we can acquire foodstuffs here through farming. Simple foodstuffs. Copper and tin can be acquired anywhere, but a fine family vintage, that is something that will draw people to this land. And you, my brother, I understand, are quite well educated in these matters.
And he scoffs. Says, I believe you are misinformed. I can open the bottle well enough.
Well then, how interested are you in learning this craft? It will take time, I understand that.
And his face darkens, and you can see the prospect of how much hard work and research this is going to be start to dawn on him. Surely there are better men than me, more capable, more knowledgeable.
Lugrin, our own family label. Think about it. This could be your legacy.
Make an insight check.
Mm-hmm. That is a 24.
Even before making an appeal to Lugrin's legacy, you know that that kind of thing won't sway him. He's just not a forward-thinking guy. He's already essentially long ago given up on the idea of having much of a legacy.
So look, I know Ruby never expected anything of you, but that's not going to work with me. I know you're not as useless as you pretend to be. I know how smart you are.
Very well. So what are you asking me to do?
Well, simple. I'm asking you to do what everyone else in this house has done, to learn a trade that can bring profit or honor to our house. And I believe this is one that is well suited to your own experiences and your own tastes, your own interests.
Well, I suppose I would need somebody who knows the craft to teach it to me.
As we continue to draw new people here, I am certain that someone with those skills will make themselves known to us. In the meantime, learning the secrets of how to... What would be the way to put this? To till the soil. I'm not saying you need to be out in the fields every day breaking your back with a rake and a hoe, but for you to take on this task, I think learning the ways of farming would be a good start.
Well, so who shall I report to then?
Well, who's in charge of running the fields out there?
That nameless NPC number 418.
Yeah, well, we have a number of people who are out there farming, and they're out there probably trying to repair the damage that was done by the fires last night, so go and learn what you can from them.
He gathers up his belongings and gets to his feet. Can I still have breakfast first?
Of course.
And he kind of, processing the fog of everything that he's just heard, he kind of meanders out of the long hall.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I've given him a job, and we'll see how he does with it. As long as he's not sitting around sleeping, I think I have to take that as a victory.
Genie,
Mm-hmm.
you are spending the day securing the mirror room in the manor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting this... so where are you putting this... What is it, a burning hands trap?
Yeah, just in the... Basically, I'm going to... my plan... So it's a room with a door, right?
There's a secret door leading in.
It's a room with a secret door.
Correct.
So, like, basically, the square, like, after you step in the room, I'm going to try to disguise it and put it there.
And then sealing the door with an arcane lock.
And then, yeah, sealing the door with an arcane lock spell. And I'm very specifically, and I want to key it to, I don't know. I don't want like any one person to be able to get in there. Can I key it to require 2 of us to be able to get open the door? Like
Excellent question. Let me get my 5e Magic Encyclopedia here.
It says you could key it to like any people you want, but like I don't know if you can like key it to like multiple people. And I don't want like a password, because if the password gets out,
Are we going to have a nuclear launch situation where we have 2 guys with the keys?
yes, that's exactly what I'm going for. Like if one of us gets mind controlled, I don't want them to be able to just go in the door.
So your 2 options are you can set a password, which you said you don't want to do, or
Right.
you and the creatures you designate.
Yeah.
So you'd have to designate some list of people who can open this door normally.
But I can't like specify that like multiple of them be present.
You cannot.
Okay.
You would
So
have
then
to set 2 separate doors that's key to one person, then key to another.
There's not multiple doors there. What's Destil?
There'd be set math involved at that point, actually, so let's not get into that.
So, rule of thumb, any math that I personally don't know doesn't exist in...
Because then it's the union of the 2 sets that can open both doors.
So, like...
Stop being such a programmer, Destil.
Anything trigonometry or calculus, like, hasn't been invented yet. In Darkon.
Crazy fields.
Well,
To
we're
build a
not
SQL server.
Listen, I passed Algebra 2 barely 25 years ago.
same. Anyway,
So if there's no topology, does that mean that a coffee cup and a donut are actually 2 different things?
See, I don't even know enough math to understand why that was funny. So,
anyway, I guess we'll just do the list of the 5 PCs.
okay. So, not Orson.
Not Orson. Orson is an NPC.
You're going to trust Victor with knowing how to open this door?
But not Ors.
No. I'm
If you were to
Actu-
if you were to ask Evie would say only you and her.
actually, you know what? Yeah, just the 2 of us
Just the 2 of you?
plus I think Ekon.
I guess I could see situations where we might need Ekon to get in there really fast.
Yeah.
Who in this party can cast Dispel Magic?
Yeah. Well, I think I eventually can, but you can
So,
do it.
Eugenia and Ekon can open the
Right.
door. What is the
Right.
physical structure of the door? Like, what is it disguised as? Like, do you have a bookshelf there that opens up? Is there
That's
like
what my long-term plan is, to put it behind a bookshelf. I don't know that we have any bookshelves available yet.
I think it's probably still just the naked door, like as it was at the moment.
Okay.
It was behind a hidden door, right? We didn't find it.
Yeah,
first.
it's a hidden door.
Make a
but,
perception
like,
check.
14 plus. So that's a 15.
Okay. You haven't cast the arcane lock spell. You're preparing to. You're getting, I don't know what components it has, but you're preparing to channel the magic down through your family house relic and into the door to seal it, and then designate the people who can open it when you become aware that Koyana has appeared behind you.
Huh?
And she's just leaned against the doorway. She's wearing Evie's dagger on a hip. She's holding a crust of bread in her right hand, watching you. So, don't let me stop you.
How long have you been there?
She shakes her head, just only a matter of moments.
Uh-huh. Could you...
And an awkward silence hangs in the air.
Yeah, I'm just staring at her.
Okay. And she
Just dead-eyed staring at her.
takes a
like,
bite
you know
out of
that
her crust of bread.
And I will stare at her as long as it takes for her to walk away. I don't care if I'm here all morning.
Doesn't get quite that far. Do I make you uncomfortable?
No, I'm just doing something, and I'm waiting for you to leave to finish.
She cranes her neck and looks at the bare spot of wall that you're working with. She nods. This wasn't my intention to impose. And even as she turns to leave, you see her eyes linger on the section of wall that you're working. But she does turn, and she doesn't leave the manor, but she goes back to the room where you guys had originally put her in when she showed up wounded.
And yeah, after making sure nobody's around, I will finish it's not a ritual, I don't think. Or is it? Hold on. I think it might be actually a ritual.
That probably is.
Seems like a ritual kind of a spell.
Should be on your character sheet.
Also that.
It doesn't.
Whether it's a ritual or not is kind of immaterial. It's all you can cast the spell. That's what's important.
Right. Oh, alarm is a ritual. Gotcha. Arcane lock is not.
Ekon.
Mm-hmm.
Clearing out the floor level of the church. That's already been done. The rubble and stuff has already been cleared away. The repair work has not yet begun, mostly just because you guys had more pressing issues on hand. But make me a religion check.
It's a 10.
A 10? The church is going to need a lot of materials and resources and labor to set to rights, obviously. And what you're kind of mulling over is, like, those are resources that you're going to have to pull away from other repairs and other work being done in the town. And right now, nobody's making those decisions with any kind of finality. Right now, it's basically just been Evie telling people what needs to be done over the course of the next day, and then people getting to it.